Welcome guys! Today we're diving deep into JAWHEAD Gold Lane, and I'm going to break down this entire build piece by piece, explaining why every stat, every passive, every point of movement speed, penetration, damage, HP, cooldown, everything actually matters for this hero in this specific role. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment about JAWHEAD Gold so I know you're watching and what you want to see next. Because JAWHEAD in the gold lane isn't the usual pick, but when you understand how his kit works and how to maximize his early pressure and mechanical threat, this build turns him into an absolute lane bully, a pick-off machine, and a late-game threat that can burst down squishies while still having enough survivability to frontline when needed. Starting off with Rapid Boots, this is a very specific choice for JAWHEAD in the gold lane because of the raw movement speed it gives. You're getting 65 movement speed, which is huge for JAWHEAD, because he's a hero that relies heavily on moving in and out, repositioning, chasing, disengaging, and creating constant pressure in lane. JAWHEAD's value in gold lane comes from poking with smart missiles, zoning the enemy marksman, and threatening a sudden ejector toss at any moment. The more movement speed you have, the more angles you can create, and Rapid Boots give you the highest bonus out of any boots. You also get 35% slow reduction, which is incredibly powerful against gold lane marksmen who try to kite you with slows from items like Corrosion Scythe or skills from heroes like Claude or Wanwan. On top of that, Rapid Boots give 12 HP regen, making your sustain in lane better so you can poke, trade, and reset without being forced out. The only downside is the unique passive Side Effect, where you lose 20 movement speed for 5 seconds when you deal or take damage. But that actually isn't a big issue for JAWHEAD. Most of the time, you use your speed to get in position before trading, and once the fight starts, you don't rely on long chases. You're either bursting, comboing, or ejecting someone instantly, so the movement speed loss rarely affects his gameplay pattern. Overall, Rapid Boots give you the best mobility possible for JAWHEAD Gold Lane, letting you dodge, chase, rotate, and constantly threaten aggression. Next, Blade of the Heptaseas fits JAWHEAD perfectly. You're getting 70 physical attack, which boosts all of your damage, including your basic attacks and every part of your kit. You also get 250 HP, which is underrated but very important for JAWHEAD Gold Lane because it makes your early trades safer and allows you to jump in without feeling like you'll instantly die. The physical penetration from the unique attribute gives you 15 penetration, and that directly helps you burst through early armor or defensive emblems that the enemy gold laner might take. What makes this item shine is the unique passive, Ambush. If you don't take or deal damage for 5 seconds, minions and creeps don't count. Your next basic attack will deal an additional 160 plus 40% of your total physical attack as physical damage, and even slows the target by 40% for 1.5 seconds. This passive is basically made for JAWHEAD because he is one of the best heroes in the entire game at forcing a heavy first hit trade. You can use smart missiles to zone the enemy, step back for 5 seconds, and once the passive is ready, you dash in with your first skill, auto attack, and deal an insane chunk of burst damage before the enemy can react. The extra slow from Ambush makes it even harder for the opponent to escape your follow-up missiles or ejector toss. It is literally the perfect early item for a kill pressure hero like JAWHEAD, especially when you're playing the gold lane where winning trades means winning lane control. Next, we go to Endless Battle. This item is one of the strongest sustain burst hybrids in the entire game, and it amplifies everything JAWHEAD wants to do. You're getting 60 physical attack, 250 HP, 10% cooldown reduction, 5% movement speed, and 5 mana regen, which all work extremely well with JAWHEAD's kit. The cooldown reduction alone is a huge factor, because JAWHEAD relies on repeatedly using his missiles and ejector to keep the lane under control. The mix of HP and damage helps his durability and aggression in the mid-game. The real power of Endless Battle is the unique passive Divine Justice. After using a skill, your next basic attack within 3 seconds deals 60% of your total physical attack as extra true damage, and heals you for 80 plus 40% of your total physical attack. That's burst plus sustain in one passive. And because JAWHEAD constantly casts skills, missiles, the dash, the throw, he triggers Endless Battle repeatedly in every single fight. Every time he combos, he gets a guaranteed heavy hit of true damage, which completely destroys squishy gold laners and boosts his ability to snowball early. The HP recovery also keeps him alive during extended trades, letting him take risks without melting. The 5% movement speed on top is even more mobility to help him pressure the lane, chase enemies, or escape ganks. Endless Battle amplifies both your early and mid-game threat, turning every combo into a burst heal cycle that makes your gold lane Jawhead incredibly hard to fight. Then we move into Malefic Roar, one of the most important late-game items for any physical burst hero. You get 60 physical attacks straight up, but the real strength comes from its penetration passives. Armor Buster gives you 30% physical penetration, and that alone makes Jawhead melt through tanks, fighters, or even marksmen who build early armor. The second passive, Breaker, gives you 0.1% extra physical penetration for every point of the enemy's physical defense, capped at 30%. That means the tankier the enemy becomes, the harder your hits cut through them. Jawhead scaling relies on staying relevant in the mid to late game even after enemy teams start building armor. With Malefic Roar, you guarantee that your first hit combo, your Endless Battle proc, your smart missiles, and your early ambush poke from heptaseas still hurt even if the enemy builds defense. You basically delete the front line and make every toss a lethal setup. This item keeps Jawhead threatening even when the game drags out. Then we arrive at Blade of Despair, the pure damage monster. This item gives 160 physical attack, which is the highest raw physical damage of any item in the game. It also gives 5% movement speed, which again helps Jawhead continue playing aggressively, rotating, and catching enemies off guard. The best part is the unique passive Despair. When you deal damage to non-minion enemies with less than 50% HP, your physical attack increases by 25% for 2 seconds, and it activates before the damage is applied. That means your burst combo becomes even more lethal once the target is already low. Jawhead's playstyle naturally fits this passive because he opens with a burst rotation and follows up with missiles that keep dealing damage. Once the enemy is below half HP, Blade of Despair turns your follow-up damage into absolute destruction. If you toss someone, dash in, and they drop to low HP, you basically guarantee the kill with the extra damage boost. This item locks in your kill pressure and lets you finish off enemies fast in both skirmishes and full team fights. Jawhead Gold Lane becomes a late-game execution machine with this in his inventory. Finally, for the last slot, you have a flexible choice between Immortality and Athena Shield depending on the enemy lineup. Immortality gives 850 HP and 15 physical defense, which already boosts your durability, but the true value comes from the unique passive Immortal. This passive revives you 2.5 seconds after death, restoring 16% HP and giving you a shield that absorbs 150 plus 70 times your hero level. The shield lasts 3 seconds, and the passive has a cooldown of 210 seconds. For Jawhead Gold Lane, Immortality is one of the safest late-game items, because once you dive in and burst someone, you often become the center of focus. Having Immortal allows you to make aggressive plays without fully risking your life. You can zone, dive, eject a squishy, force cooldowns, and even if you get punished, you get a second chance to escape or continue the fight. It adds pressure to the enemy team because they can't simply burst you and ignore you. They have to commit twice. If the enemy has heavy magic damage or strong mages, then Athena Shield becomes the better choice. This item gives 900 HP, 48 magic defense, and 2 HP regen, giving you strong protection against magic burst. The unique passive shield reduces magic damage taken by 25% for 3 seconds after being hit by magic damage from a hero's skill or basic attack. The effect even reduces the triggering damage and refreshes 5 seconds after leaving combat. For Jawhead Gold Lane, this is perfect against burst mages like Valentina, Farsa, Xavier, or anything that can one-shot squishies. With this item, your ability to jump in without dying instantly becomes way more reliable. You can tank mage combos, survive the burst window, and still complete your engagement. The HP and magic defense also stack beautifully with your other items, giving you just enough durability to stay in fights while still playing the aggressive Jawhead style.
So that's the full build. Every stat, every passive, every small detail tied directly into how Jawhead performs in the gold lane. This setup gives you insane mobility from rapid boots, early lane dominance from heptaseas, heavy burst and sustain from endless battle, armor shredding power from Malefic roar, insane execution damage from Blade of Despair, and your choice of late game survival through either immortality or Athena's shield. It turns Jawhead into a gold lane bruiser assassin hybrid who can poke, trade, burst, punish, and scale while staying surprisingly tanky. So what do you think about Jawhead Gold? Personally, I think it's actually a really strong and underrated pick. People always assume Jawhead has to be a roamer or an EXP hero, but when you place him in the gold lane, he becomes this unexpected threat that most squishy marksmen and mages simply aren't ready for. He can counter almost any squishy hero easily as long as you understand one simple thing: timing and positioning. That's really the entire secret behind making Jawhead gold lane work. It's not about overthinking or trying to force crazy dives. It's about knowing when to appear, when to disappear, and when to punish. So yeah, I think Jawhead Gold is very good, very effective, and honestly, very fun. As long as you master your timing, positioning, and bush control, you basically become the nightmare of every squishy hero who thinks they can farm safely. And the best part? Nobody expects it, which makes it even stronger. So, if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop the word JAW in the comments so I know you stayed all the way until the end. It really helps the channel grow, and it honestly motivates me to keep making more content for you guys. Thank you for the support, I appreciate every single one of you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.